Welcome back, Honors. Oh, man. Oh, still reeling from yesterday. I feel like I still can't eat after eating like 4 of those donuts. All right, well, just wanted to say, too, though, that I had a great time with all you guys on the trip yesterday, and I look forward to being able to do it again with y'all next year. So, well, let's go ahead and get started on the stuff that we were left off in class. We were talking about the Gracchi, right? Now, really quickly, before you get confused, Gracchi, not their last name. Gracchus is their last name. Gracchi we use to refer to them in the pluralism sense, right? Now, anyway, so the big thing about the Gracchi brothers is they wanted to help aid the veterans after the Punic Wars, right? Which was a major, major problem. We discussed a lot of different things. Somebody tell me really quick, what was a problem that was going on after the Punic Wars? Good job, Olivia. That's right. Civil Wars was a really big problem. Good job, Laura McCann. Very good. The veterans' homes were in shambles, right? Bam! Very nice job. Whoever else just said that. It's early. But yeah, so ton of different problems going on, right? And also, the fact that every time somebody like the Gracchi would try to step up and do something about it, who is going to have them killed but the patricians in the Senate, right? So now the big one, though, also is Gaius Gracchus down here. This is him actually standing in the Roman Forum addressing the entire Roman public in the Senate and as well as the Council of Plebes. And he was also killed in cold blood because he actually wanted to also extend citizenship rights to all Italians, regardless of their original foundings and things like that. So that's another major thing. But all of these reforms and the Gracchi brothers' anticipatory claims are actually going to lead to another civil war, right? Of course it did, because there's like civil wars every 5 seconds in Rome. Now, the civil wars, though, are going to demand the need for a very strong central leader, because regardless if it's a civil war or a foreign war, what does the Roman government call into action? Bang, a dictator, right? So enter the dictators, right? It says tators right there. So enter the dictators. So the first very, very successful one that we know of that was non-mythical, like Cincinnatus. I don't know about all y'all, but I was freaking out when they said Cincinnatus in the video at the museum. I wanted to be like, I taught that already. Anyway, so Sulla is one of the big ones, right? And don't worry, he didn't look like this all the time. That nose has been knocked off. But big things about Sulla is he actually helped conquer, sorry, I'm fixing my sock. He actually helped conquer a lot of small barbarian tribes and other smaller parts of Asia. And then he stopped 2 civil wars, was a very, very strong leader. And then following his reign, he actually did do what he was supposed to, and he gave power back to the Republic in the Senate after 9 years of warfare, right? Now, let's keep going, though. Now, in 59 BC, though, someone you all know and have heard of before is going to be elected as a consul, right? Well, let's talk about his rise to the top real quick, right? So in 59 BC, Julius Caesar is going to be elected as a consul. Well, he didn't start out that way. So the big thing about Caesar is early on, he wanted to actually rule all Roman lands, right? His ambition, we believe, was to be a dictator from out the gate. So he formed an army and captured the province of Gaul, France, right? So after being elected a consul, he captures Gaul, and he becomes appointed a governor of Gaul, and from there he's going to watch Rome very closely, right? Anticipating. So really quickly, Rome closely, these 2 bullet points go together. My bad. Anyway, now the big thing about it is he's biding his time, right? Caesar is biding his time. Caesar is just waiting. He's waiting, he's lying in wait, and after 10 years of waiting, in 49 BC, he returns to Rome as a civil war begins, right? So, Caesar is going to be appointed dictator for 10 years after, as this war commences. Also, these 2, 1 bullet point. That's a weird formatting thing. Now, but yes, so Caesar is going to be appointed dictator for 10 years, right? So, the main thing is, though, is after those 10 years, Caesar is supposed to do what? Exactly. Step down and give the power back. Very good job, Miss Rudica. Very proud. Anyway, so all kinds of stuff like that. That makes sense. But we all know from our concepts of understanding easy little historical stuff is that actually didn't happen. Because big things about why it didn't happen, first and foremost, is he actually created one of the very first political alliances to actually maintain the stability of the government and also his power, right? So he actually went out and got several people on his side. His political alliance was of 3 people, and it was called the First Triumvirate, right? So now really quickly, write this down. So you understand, Caesar was appointed dictator, right? So that doesn't mean like after he was appointed dictator that they elected another consul in his place, right? So there was only one real leader of the Senate at the time, or other supreme consul. And then there were a lot of other like very wealthy senators. There was the leader of the Council of Plebes, was the tribunes and stuff like that. So the three guys that are going to come into play though are Caesar himself, a guy named Pompey, who was the leader of the, the leader of the Senate as well, and a very, very powerful Roman. And then we also have Crassus, right? Now, the cool thing about this whole thing is all three actually came into power promising to help advance each other's position in the Roman government. However, the alliance is going to crumble when they disagree on how to lead. When I say disagree on how to lead, that's actually not nearly as good as saying they all tried to kill each other, right? Because that's a big theme of Roman history. It's like if you don't like somebody, just kill them, right? So the big one that was killed first, actually, was this guy, Crassus. Write a little note to him, but like killed first, right? So he was actually executed by, a lot of people have a lot of different stories, as we know, Romans like to exaggerate. Some of the big stories are like, he was killed in his bed with one of his mistresses, right? That's the one I like because I think it's kind of funny. Like a lot of other ones are like, he was beat to death by senators with wooden sticks. Well, I don't know what other kind of sticks he would have. But yeah, so he's going to end up being executed. So that would then leave Pompey and Caesar. Now, Pompey, actually being a leader of the Senate, can easily mobilize a non-professional army. So he actually mobilizes a military of his own, and he challenges Caesar in basically all-out warfare, and actually breaks a civil war out between these two guys. Now, the crazy thing is you would imagine that Caesar would just be like, oh, well, okay, here, take the government back, because of whatever. But actually, what actually happened was Caesar crossed the Tiber River, and he was standing on the other side of it, and he said, if you want some, come get some. And then literally they ended up going to a civil war, and Caesar is actually going to be the successful one in this civil war, right? There's a lot of other stuff that happened during his reign, like the Third Servile War, which is the story of Spartacus. But we'll actually talk about that later on when we talk about the fall of Rome, talking about like civil unrest and stuff like that. But Caesar is going to win that civil war, and he's going to become an even stronger dictator, right? So, yeah, Pompey's a jerk. Now, anyway, so big things about Caesar, reasons why people loved him so much, right? These are the 5 big reasons why everyone loved him in Rome. Write that down real quick, like right here. The 5 reasons why everyone in Rome loved Caesar. Because here's the thing, when you really look at it, who didn't like Caesar? The patricians didn't like Caesar, and the senators didn't like Caesar because they wanted their power back, right? It had nothing to do with him not being well loved. Most of the Roman Empire loved him. Like all the people under his reign really, really liked him. And the first one is, of course, he's just a strong leader. Very strong leader, makes decisions that are applicable to the people of Rome. Big thing, too, is he actually improved the lives of veterans. Now, something that a bunch of y'all probably don't know, but you should write this down because you're actually super cool and smart like that. And the big thing is actually, speaking of improving the lives of veterans, one big city or province, actually, or state, I guess, in Italy, known as Tuscany, and its capital being Florence, was actually specifically designated for the veterans, right? So literally, Caesar is going to strip land from all the patricians in Florence and Tuscany, and he's going to give it back to the veterans of the Punic Wars. He is going to do the thing that the Gracchus brothers wanted to do the whole time, which was help the veterans out by giving them places to live and areas to farm on. So, he also is going to make laws that help out the poor, the slaves, the freed slaves, and then also the plebeians themselves. He's going to create new jobs inside the Roman government, improve the infrastructure of the empire, and he's also going to give citizenship to more people. Hail Caesar, right? Veni, vidi, vici. I came, I saw, I conquered. The dude was well loved by the people of Rome. It's just the senators that didn't like him, right? So, but we all know what happens to Caesar, which I think that this picture is hilarious. He's going to be stabbed to death, right? So he's actually going to be assassinated as he's walking into the Senate after the Senate Council was being called. This little picture is a little inaccurate, though, because he actually, according to story, he was stabbed in the back, which is where we get the phrase backstabber. He was stabbed in the back by his best friend, Brutus, right? So apparently what happened with that whole thing was actually Brutus stabbed him in the back. And he actually, when Brutus yelled out, like stabbed him in the back, he yelled, Cicero! Which was actually a Roman philosopher that we'll talk about later on because you guys are wicked smart. But he actually yelled Cicero because Cicero advocated for the fact that he wanted the government to be stripped from Caesar and then given back to the Republic, right? He's actually a very famous philosopher, very cool guy. I love Caesar, I love Cicero. It's kind of funny how they butted heads, though. But apparently Brutus yelled Cicero and stabbed him. But apparently when Caesar looked up at him and was like, "Et tu, Brute," which means, "and you, Brutus," like so, calling him out, saying like, "Why?" A lot of historians actually think that there's a possibility that Brutus may have been an illegitimate child of Caesar, because Caesar was like around all the time. So, cool fact about Caesar is we believe that he actually had a relationship with Cleopatra, and that he actually wanted to bring her back to Rome, but the Roman people were like, no, she's not one of us, she's a gross Egyptian. But anyway, we'll talk about that on Monday a little bit. In 44 BC, though, so getting back to the story, is that Brutus actually might have been one of his illegitimate children and grew up resenting Caesar so much, and then when he became dictator, he was like, "All right, Dad, you want to play that? You never came to any of my soccer games." All right, so all that stuff, and actually executed him. But again, it's just a story, right? Now, in 44 BC, though, Caesar was appointed dictator for life. Life! Notice I said dictator, not emperor. And remember, imperator is where the word emperor comes from, which just means a successful general. Now, Caesar was appointed dictator for life. The Roman Republic was then actually a dictatorship. And the senators feared that he's going to make himself king or monarch or autocrat of the Roman Empire, right? Well, the senators feared this heavily, and so Caesar was stabbed to death on March 15th in 44 BC, and the phrase by Shakespeare is known as the Ides of March, right? So, as in because of the month of March, and whatever the heck Ides means, which I should probably look up real quick. Let's look up what Ides means. So, Ides definition. So, Ides, in the ancient Roman calendar, is a day falling roughly in the middle of each month. So, it just means the middle of March. Oh, cool. I never knew that. Look at that. Thank you, Hnrs, for making me look that up. Not like you actually made me look it up, but I'm just saying. Where did my presentation go? Oh, whoops. There we go. But yeah, so actually we can go ahead and like right there, you just need to write down this next little like snippet thing. Following the death of Caesar, really quick, following the death of Caesar in 44 BC, in the middle of March, right, the Ides of March, the big thing that you need to remember going forward is just simply the fact that, that is going to mark the end of the Roman Republic period, right? And then some of you are like, wait a minute, I thought the Empire period didn't start until 29 BC. Well, a lot of that is due to the fact that, like, we say that the Republic, or that's the marking the end of the Republic, because from 44 to 29, there was a lot of different leaders that tried to, like, bring consolidation back to the Empire. But Augustus is going to be the guy that actually starts the Empire period. But we basically, as a historical community, say that, like, that dysfunction from 44 to 29 was mostly civil wars and people vying for power. That's not really a part of, like, the Empire period necessarily, but the death of Caesar marks the end of the Republic and the beginning of the Empire, all right? So make sure you put the Empire period, 29 BC to 476 AD. So begins the Empire, right? We're going to talk about the guy that actually made the Empire period possible. His name is Octavian Caesar, the grandnephew of Julius Caesar, adopted anyway. We're going to talk about him, though, next. And starting on Monday, and I love this guy, and then I'm going to get y'all started up on your actual first DBQ. It is ready to rock. It is good to go. We're going to talk about it on Monday. It'll be due like after Thanksgiving and stuff. Bang, 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 bang. Look forward to seeing y'all then, Camden Catholic, or excuse me, Hnrs.